Kanye West is the GOAT says, is Zack your friend? Um, yeah, Zack is my friend. We have complications. Sometimes I feel like Zack doesn't respect me very much. I think Zack has said some things. Zack has described me to his audience in ways that I was embarrassed by. Zack said Ethan's like a carnival barker, a fat carnival Jersey carnival barker on the boardwalk. Hey, everybody! I don't see myself like that at all. I don't. I see myself as an artist who has a sense of humor and it can be a little self-effacing and is a loudmouth at times. But I felt embarrassed by that. And then also he said that I'm like Howard Stern, which means that the people who appear with me on live streams are my stuttering John. You know what I mean? I like abuse them and make them into these. I mean, that might be closer to the truth. That might be kind of a bullseye and the identification of like a failing on my part, the way I treat people. But I do it for entertainment's sake. I don't mean to hurt anyone, if that's the truth, if that's how I am. So those things hurt my feelings. And then he basically said he didn't want to live stream ever, which I thought was ridiculous because if me and Zack got together and he's not completely wrong. No, I know he's not. Zack is fucking smart. But sometimes people say things to you that might be true. And you're just like, I don't want to, you might be holding up a mirror to me in a way that doesn't make me happy and hurts my feelings. And I don't want you to hold that mirror up. Is that fair? You know what I mean? So, if you were a friend, you wouldn't say these things. But then again, if you were a friend, maybe you would say these things. I don't know. I'm not sure. But here's the thing about Zack. Okay, Zack was, if it wasn't for Zack, I don't know how I would have survived my cancellation. I don't know how I would have found myself on my feet again. I needed what was happening with him. I needed his ideas. I needed his live streams, and I needed his friendship to actually pull me through that. I stuck out my neck for him quite a few times. I stood by him, and when DC Comics told me I had to back away from this guy. See, this is one thing about me that you need to understand above all other things. I am not going to be told by anybody to disassociate with someone because it's going to be bad for me if I don't. And Zack was one of the first times that happened. And, it was like, hey, I'm just watching his show and he makes a lot of good points and I agree with him. And what do you mean I can't listen to his show or interact with his audience? And DC Comics said, it's going to be bad for you if you do. In other words, there was this whole narrative going around about how Zack was harassing and abusing our precious queer and women comic book professionals, and therefore he had to be destroyed. And Mark Waid was out there saying, bring him to me. If you find Zack, bring him to me. It was crazy. It was insane. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do whatever I want. And you guys can do whatever you want because of that. But the idea that I'm getting now night letters from my fellow creators, including Mark Waid, telling me that it would be in my best interest to step away from Richard C. Meyer and not associate with him for the sake of my livelihood. That shaped my whole worldview. And, it's still happening today. People are like, you can't associate with these people because they're degenerates. You can't be. No, I'm not even friends with any of these people. I'm just friendly with them. I try to be friendly with everybody. But telling me that I shouldn't associate with people for the sake of my reputation or my what's best for me is going to make me associate with those people. And it's going to make me disassociate from the people telling me that I need to disassociate. You understand? It's what Eric July did. It's what people like Matt Barr are doing every single day. No, Ethan associates with these degenerates and it's hurting Comicsgate. That's the same shit DC Comics was telling me. And it built Comicsgate up. Nothing changes. It's coming from the other side now. Just because it's coming from the other side doesn't mean it's suddenly more valid or moral or anything that anybody should listen to or, pay attention to or obey. So that's important. When you see people saying, Ethan, don't hang out with Nick Rekieta because it's going to be bad for you. Look, don't say that to me. Okay. Don't say that to me. I don't want to hear that. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And people trying to motivate me or kind of peer pressure me into isolating someone, I'm not going to do it. You know, I'm not going to do that. Fuck you. Pisses me off. So anyway, that's Zack. Now, because of all of this stuff, and in no small part, you know, Zack and I kind of bonded and we became like friends during this whole period of Comicsgate. And one thing that I will remember is I remember getting fired. Not fired, but I remember DC calling me and saying, we're not going to renew your contract, which is the same thing, essentially, because they always did renew my contract. And I told Zack what happened. And Zack went out, and this is like, to me, I'd never met him, you know what I mean? But he went out and he got fucking drunk, like off his ass. He went to a bar and he got like senselessly drunk, came back and did a live stream, didn't make any sense. But like he blamed himself for me losing my job, especially since he knew Ava had autism. And my life was already way too complicated for this. So I like that just forges like a friendship and a bond that goes beyond just like, are you guys cool? Like, I mean, there are going to be times when what Zack does and says disappoints me. There are going to be times when, and I understand if Zack thinks I'm not cool, doesn't want to associate with me at the same time because, well, you know, I'm not cool, you know, so I understand that. He was there when I needed him, and I believe in loyalty. I do. It's not even. It's like he's like the other side of the Comicsgate coin, and you know, it's nice to see eventually he comes around to my POV about the grifters, and you know, it's nice to like. I'm listening to him. I'm going, yeah, that's exactly how I feel too. That's cool. And I told him, I just said, you sound great lately. This is awesome. What you're saying is exactly what needs to be said. It's not what people want. I know it sounds gay, dude. I'm sorry. But it is true. Like Zack actually told me, he said, I'd take a bullet for you one time. And I was like, this is all like in the heart of like all this stuff happened like when my life was being turned upside down. So it was more meaningful. Zack's been to combat with people. I don't share bonds with people like that. That's the closest it comes for me. I was never in the military. But I did go through that, and that was a life-changing event. And the people who were with me then, who are still with me now, I'll never let them down. John Malin, I'm never going to let John Malin down. I won't. You know, John steered my compass a little bit there, my morality. He, like, when I was a little like, I don't know, maybe we should be careful about the things that we're saying to the SJW. John was like, fuck them. They are the equivalent. They're calling you Nazi. They are Nazis. I'm not going to let these guys down. Ever. And there's a lot of pressure all the time to do that, to move on from Comicsgaters and stuff. No, Comicsgate lives forever. It just lives forever. People come and go, but the train is still going. Okay. The train is still heading where you can get off at this platform if you'd like to. You can step on. Comicsgate train, choo choo, still going down the tracks. Never gonna give you up. Exactly. So, yes, long way of saying I still consider Zack to be a friend, a mentor, more like that, like kind of like I listen to his ideas and I consider them, and a lot of them are useful to me and in my way of thinking. Yeah, yeah, that's he's an important guy in my life.